Hi, I'm Brittany with Birth It Forward, certified birth and bereavement doula, certified yoga instructor, and family photographer.
Hi, I'm April. I'm a postpartum and labor doula with Birth It Forward.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming and doing these videos with me.
Absolutely. Happy to help.
Awesome. Okay, so today we are going to go over when your birth goals aren't met. And, at the end of the day, we have some feelings about that. What are some things that we can do to kind of address that elephant in the room, so to speak, that we have going on, those intense feelings that can come from after a birth.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the goals that I see a lot of my clients make for themselves is an epidural-free birth.
Mhm.
And so I feel like sometimes they feel a little defeated or let down whenever they feel like that goal wasn't accomplished.
Absolutely. And I know as a doula, I also can feel defeated or just disappointed in myself that their birth goal wasn't met, that I knew they wanted to have an epidural free birth. And for whatever reason, that just wasn't possible. So a lot of times I visit this at the perinatal. Sorry. It's that time of day when she needs a nap, but she refuses to nap. um, okay, so I often visit this during the perinatal with my clients of, I know we had the birth goal of not having an epidural. Um, we talk about kind of what were the reasons we needed to get an epidural.
Mm, yeah, that's a great thing to talk about.
Because maybe they've had to have a few interventions and um, maybe we have thoughts about this is pain rather than intensity. A lot of times the way we think about those contractions change how we perceive them and how we are feeling those contractions. Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's more just these are way more intense than I ever imagined they would be for me. Some women, they're not as intense. Some women, they're really intense. So it just kind of depends on your threshold.
Mhm.
Um, but what are the reasons that we needed to get an epidural?
Yeah. So you think talking about those afterwards can really help somebody process and make themselves feel more content with how their birth plan and everything changed.
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
That's a big reason why most of us doulas ask during the perinatal, tell me about your birth. Tell me what the experience was like. How do you feel about what happens? And you have questions about what happens.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can clarify? Sometimes things are happening so fast in the birth space. I understand what is happening, and I'm trying to explain that to the client, but you're in the middle of a contraction, you're in the middle of a really intense situation, and it can be hard to really internalize those things and to comprehend them sometimes. So revisiting those scenarios can help process, why did we need to do this? Why did this need to happen? Something else, apple juice, we don't have apple juice. Something else I like to touch base on is, did we get an epidural because the contractions were leaning into, oh, I hear you. I will cut up an apple for you next, okay? Um,
I lost it.
that's okay. I know where I'm at. So one of the other things I like to ask and talk about is, were the contractions manageable or were they leaning into suffering?
Yeah.
There is a difference between contractions being intense and still manageable, or the feeling of those contractions becoming suffering. And what I mean by suffering is, how to describe suffering? Do you have a good description for suffering?
Ooh, I think suffering, it's kind of whenever you just like lose that focus and you start to feel like you're just kind of past your point.
Yes, I think that's a great description. It's you know, we can see when clients start to spiral, you know, emotionally, they're starting to spiral. We're not handling those contractions very well. We're forgetting to breathe. We're forgetting ways to get help. Maybe our bodies are tensing up, and there's nothing we can do to stop that. You know, we're fighting those contractions so hard that now it's too much, and we're breaking down. That is kind of what I'm equating to with suffering. That is causing more mental and emotional harm to the birthing person
Mhm.
than getting an epidural will.
Yeah.
So I like to weigh the scales, you know, and sometimes I'll even ask them in the birth space, which one's heavier for you? Is it heavier and going to cause you more pain to get the epidural?
Yeah, I think ultimately, it's up to the birthing person to tell us if they're suffering. Like,
Absolutely.
they're the only person that truly knows in that moment. So keeping communication open with them
Yes,
and making sure that they feel supported in their decisions all the way.
absolutely. That is definitely, that's just one example of maybe a birth goal not being met and how you can work with someone to process that goal and why it wasn't met. So hopefully this was helpful. We'd like to keep these videos short, so I don't want to go into another scenario at this point, but if you guys want another scenario, let us know. We'd love to talk about it. Okay, so again, I am Brittany with Birth It Forward,
And I'm April with Birth It Forward.
and we are doulas and directors with the organization. So if you have any questions, holler at us. Make sure you like the video so we know that you want more videos like this one, and hit that subscribe and bell button. Subscribing to our channel just shows you more of our videos are being processed, and excuse me, hitting the bell button is going to tell you when a new video comes out. We have videos on Birth Tip Tuesday on Tuesdays and yoga videos on Friday.
Thank you.